Hi, I'm Darryn Farrugia and welcome. In this video, I'm going to talk about a soloing concept, and it's not so much about the content this time, but it's more about how we take the content, you know, the licks, the patterns or whatever, and arrange those into phrases. So this is more about phrases. Now, the type of phrase that I'm going to talk about is what I call an AAAB phrase. And what that means is that I've got two ideas. I've got an A idea and I've got a B idea, which means that if I'm playing an AAAB phrase, that means I'm playing the first idea 3 times and then I'm departing from that idea to play a second phrase in the 4th bar. So to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, I'm going to kind of mimic the style of solo that Steve Gadd plays. So here's a 4-bar phrase using AAAB phrasing in the style of Steve Gadd. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I did was I played a lick and then I repeated that lick, I repeated it again, and then in the 4th bar I played a different lick. So really that 4-bar phrase was just made up of 2 ideas. So where does this come from? Well, I would say that there are several jazz drummers from the bebop era that are largely responsible for this type of playing. 2 that immediately come to mind would be someone like Max Roach and Philly Joe Jones. So this is the concept. It's based on repetition. It's taking an idea and repeating it, not throwing it away. So not using an AAAB phrase, but here's the first 4 bars of For Big Sid by Max Roach. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, although that doesn't employ the AAAB phrasing style, it definitely employs repetition. The opposite of repetition for me is when you just play a flurry of notes and none of those ideas are necessarily arranged into phrases, but those licks or whatever that you're playing are actually, you know, pretty well connected. So what I'm going to do as an example is I'm just going to play triplets. I'm not thinking of any phrases, but I'm just playing triplets in different stickings, different patterns, whatever, around the kit. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that was really just some kind of diarrhea of ideas. I haven't really thought much about how I'm arranging that into a phrase. So that example that I just played is really the exact opposite of what I'm talking about today. Now, I actually find what I did a lot easier to play because I can just sort of spew this stuff out. I'm using a lot of horrible terminology today. I can just throw this stuff out there on the drum set and I don't have to think so much because all of the patterns that I played are just licks that are part of my vocabulary. What I find difficult to do is to take one of those licks while I'm in the heat of the moment, in the process of improvising, and then repeating it, recalling it and playing it. And the thing that I like about this repetition process is that it really does connect you to your ideas rather than just playing and soloing from muscle memory. Now, I think it's really worth developing this style. And this is, like I said, a style of soloing that you're really going to hear Steve Gadd play a lot. and it just makes the phrasing and the solos sound more musical. And like I said, it really does connect you to what it is that you're playing rather than just throwing all this stuff away. So how do we get to this point? Well, firstly, let's just stick with the AAAB concept for a bit. Like I said, it's not so much about the content, but it's more about how we arrange that content. So at this point, while we're learning it, the content can be quite simple. I'm going to use a couple of Philly Joe Jones ideas to again demonstrate this concept in the kind of bop style. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, in a video from a couple of weeks back where I talked about a Dave Weckl lick on a bebop kit, I referenced a particular solo that he plays on a track called Kamarika by Steve Kahn. I'm going to leave a link to that song in the description underneath this video, and I want you to check out the solo, because within that solo he plays maybe 3, possibly 4 AAAB phrases. So anyway, we want to learn how to be able to do this. And one of the methods that I use to teach this is from the book The Art of Bop Drumming by John Riley. I'm going to grab my copy for you. Okay, so on page 36, we've got this page of 1-bar phrases. And also I should mention at this point that these 1-bar phrases are just written on the snare drum and the bass drum. They're not orchestrated in any way, and they're not necessarily provided with any stickings. So that in itself is enough for you to improvise with. So the first phrase is this: 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I'm going to repeat that now. I'm just going to play that over and over. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. You can change the sticking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So that's the first of the 1-bar phrases on this page from John Riley's Art of Bop Drumming book. The second bar, the second 1-bar phrase that I teach is the second one along, which is this: 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, I'll just repeat that. 1, 2, 3, 4. As you can hear, I've added some accents. I'll change the sticking this time and I'll orchestrate it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the next step is to then just arrange this into a simple AAAB phrase. So I'm going to play that first bar 3 times, and then in the 4th bar I'm going to play that second phrase. So here we go. Again, it's a 4-bar phrase just made up of 2 ideas. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think you get the idea. 1 bar played 3 times, followed by the 4th bar, which is a departure from the first lot of ideas. So what I encourage you to do here is practice using your own licks. Anything that you've come up with, regardless of how simple it is. It could be as simple as this. It could be that. We're going to take that and play that 3 times and then play something in the 4th bar that's equally as simple. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you practice this way, what will eventually happen is you'll start to actually feel and hear phrases. Like I said, this is a lot harder for me to be able to play something and then recall it immediately and then repeat it, because we're talking about dealing with this stuff in split seconds, microseconds. So we want to be able to practice developing that skill. Once you start to get an ear for this sort of thing, then you can start to advance the content. You can play harder licks, or whatever. The most important thing is that you start to hear what this phrasing style is like. So, check out drummers like Steve Gadd. He's the master of this. Again, I'll refer to Philly Joe Jones and Max Roach. So what I'm going to do for you now is I'm going to put myself on the line here and try to improvise for you using a whole series of AAAB phrases. Here we go. So I'm pretty sure you were able to hear the repetition in those phrases. I would start with an idea, try to remember what I played, sticking orchestrations. Maybe on a repeat of those phrases, I might play it slightly differently, or I might orchestrate it slightly differently. And then, find something else to play at the end of that phrase. So that's really what this is all about. It's really simple, but really, really, really musical. So what I'm going to encourage you to do is just do it. Just try it. Put on the metronome or just play along to something, whether it be a backing track or some kind of loop, percussion loop. And maybe to assist you in getting to hear this, check out some Steve Gadd solos. There's some fantastic live footage. Wow, there's just so much live footage of him playing solos. And, you will start to hear this. You will recognize what that phrasing style is all about. So have fun. I'm going to talk about some other concepts. I think I might make a little bit of a thing of soloing as well for future videos, because, this stuff's really interesting. And, drummers, not all of us, but some of us like playing solos, and any information that I can pass on to you that's of any help, great. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have, give it the thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, subscribe, and remember to hit that notification bell thing to let you know when I've uploaded a video, which is every week. So until next week, have a great week, and I will see you all very soon. Bye.